Let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
You got arrested. What happened?
So the overlay here is the January 6th so-called select committee, which is selected basically of a bunch of Democrats and 2 Rhino Republicans. It's a committee which Nancy Pelosi herself called unprecedented because it's a totally partisan committee, which I repeatedly called long before I ever got a subpoena, a witch hunt in a kangaroo court designed to build a criminal case against Trump, which you can't do. Okay?
You know they put me in that stuff, right?
Yeah.
They showed a clip of me reading a news article.
Oh, interesting.
And then claimed that I was a Trump supporter calling for people to go to DC. Never did. They lied. Jamie Raskin is a liar and an awful person.
Yes. Anyway, so they subpoena me and command me, that's the term they use, to come and testify before Congress and provide them with some documents. Now, here's the constitutional problem and the rock and hard place I'm in. As soon as they did that, we have the fact that Trump invokes what's called executive privilege. Okay, executive privilege, it goes back to George Washington. It's a doctrine. It might, the word privilege has kind of got a bad rap these days, but the whole idea is for a president to make effective decisions, he has to be able to have confidential discussions with his closest advisors that can't be revealed in the ordinary course of business. So as soon as he invoked in privilege, number one, it was not my privilege to waive. Number two, so I told the committee repeatedly, time and time again, go negotiate a waiver of the privilege with the president and his attorneys.
This
they
is
never
the
did
same argument that Steve Bannon's legal team used, right? That Trump had invoked executive privilege and he was not.
It's the same
at
argument
liberty.
that Mark Meadows, the former chief of staff, and Dan Scavino.
They're arguing you lose, the president loses executive privilege the moment he walks out of office.
Which is a fanciful and absurd notion which has no basis in the law. The point here
it would
is
mean that you'd have no privilege during the presidency either. It's ridiculous.
I think the privilege belongs to the office, not to the individual.
It's crazy. Well, be careful with that because that's kind of their argument in some sense. Just go back to the logic of this. It's like
makes no sense.
If President Trump has executive privilege, and his predecessor comes in and immediately strips him of it, and then he never had it.
Yeah, but I don't think you should be able to strip the presidency of its privilege. It's just that's okay.
Well, so it's not the office; it's the individual who held the office. Yeah. Like any president who goes in and says, this privilege is required for the reason of having independent branches. If you left and then that could be taken away from you, you'd have civil war every 4 years. Literal civil war.
Last tangent. Can a new president get the information from the old president's privilege, or are they privileged from each other? Like they're not allowed to know what each other has done.
When a president, past or present, invokes executive privilege, then that privilege applies to whatever it is he's invoked it on, and it's not the authority of his advisors who were considered, the top advisors were considered alter egos of the president. In other words, when they subpoena me, it's like subpoenaing the president. So my point here, in terms of my situation, is Trump invokes privilege, not my privilege to waive. The committee does nothing to resolve that issue. And the next thing we know, they pass a resolution to hold both Dan Scavino and myself in contempt for failing to comply with the subpoena, and hijinks ensue. Now, the funny part of the story, and it's darkly comic in a brutal, authoritarian way, is I live literally a field goal kick away from the FBI. I mean, I was a field goal kicker in high school. I could hit the FBI from my balcony in the building I'm in with a field goal. That's how close they are. Goal. Yet,
what's a good field goal though? How many yards are we talking? Like 40?
40 yards.
40 yards.
Yeah. I mean, it's just right there, right? And so, rather than what they should have done with me is call my attorney and arrange what they call a voluntary arrest. This is a misdemeanor, right? Just, hey, we've got an arrest warrant for it. Come on down. We'll do the paperwork, and you'll be out with it with no bail, and we'll deal with this in the courts. That's how it should have went. And 2 days before they took me, I actually talked to the FBI agent and said, hey, whatever you need, I'm happy to cooperate with you guys. And that same day, I'd sent a letter to the attorney at the Justice Department saying, hey, I'm looking for a modus vivendi here. Call this attorney here. I'm stuck between this rock and hard place. So it's just like peace, right? Peace, peace, brother, right? Peace. Why? And so on that Friday, they let me leave my home across the street from them, go to Reagan Airport, sit for an hour in the boarding area, getting ready to go board a plane to Nashville to do Mike Huckabee's show. And I go through, I do my gate ticket thing and walk into the jetway. And the next thing I know, there's 3 armed agents behind me and 2 armed agents coming at me, right? And it's like they take my phone, can't call an attorney, put me in handcuffs, take me down the jetway. And meanwhile, as soon as that's happening, it was like all the newspapers had been leaked. All the media had this leaked, but they kept me in solitary, right? And I get fingerprinted. I go and get leg irons, strip searched. And, one of the common things is like they're walking me down, and this guy, young guy, I got no problem with the people who work at the place. They're just doing their job, unlike the FBI, which seems to enjoy doing that job too much. This guy's walking. I'm supposed to be following him. I'm in leg irons. You ever try to walk in leg irons? It's not easy, right? And then they walk me down to the cell. They take away my tie because they think I'm going to hang myself, and my belt because they think I'm going to hang myself. And it's just like,
why'd they put you in leg irons?
So we can't escape.
Yeah,
I think they wanted the.
Well,
it's bullying, coercion.